Welcome back to the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel. My name is Emil and this is ExtraTyne. We're going to keep it as it is. I think it's the easiest thing to do before we add any more titles to the discussion. And yeah, we're going to have a quick glance at Newcastle United through the week to join the 80 million other podcasts that seem to be popping up doing the exact same thing as the other one. This is the last 7 days as a Newcastle United fan. Top line of it, it's been an absolute shambles. But then again, what's new? I'm joined today by Shell, of course.
Hi.
Besty's here.
Hello.
And we've got Matty as well, who also did a bit of extra time. Thanks for joining us again today, Matty.
Hello, guys. All right.
Yeah, Matty, what's your general mood? Because we obviously, me, Shell and Besty are in a WhatsApp together, and we know exactly how we feel. But what's your general consensus at the minute?
I'd probably just go for copy and paste, to be honest. I think like we was discussing previously, things started off quite well at the start of the week. You know, as much as we've got holes in our squad, we've had a good pre-season result, if you can call it that. Andy Carroll's got the score sheet, but then one striker injury has seemed to set the ball in motion for terror in pre-season. And we find ourselves, looking for strikers with our top player and Dubravka missing for the next 6 or 7 weeks, and the season just upon us in 2 weeks' time. So yeah,
I think
no surprises really.
You've covered everything there, guys. So I think we're done in 2 minutes. There we went. A nice little quick glance at the week there from Matty Shaw. Well, thank you very much. But yeah, we will get a bit more in depth. There's a child broken into the studio there in the best household. It's Matty Longstaff breaking in there, just asking where his dinner is. But it started off a week ago.
Hang on a minute.
Hello.
Alfie's going mad. I've got to go and give him some great water. I'll be 2 ticks.
All right, okay, you do what you need to do. Right, there we go. Bestie straight out there. Well, funny enough, we were just saying about the last 7 days. The Premier League have answered a few questions. The Always Smiling Faces podcast did kind of cover that. But there was another thing going on with the Bellanova group, or whatever they're called, Photoshop specialists. There was a lot of things being debunked with them. Shell, from the start, did you at all believe them?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because everybody's now an expert. I didn't actually look too much into the group, and I think that probably says how I felt that was all going to work out.
Yeah, no thread, no party, basically, with you, Shell.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very difficult because I feel like we did get excited thinking the takeover was going to happen, and yet again we've been disappointed. So from my perspective, I think let's wait until we see something more solid before we get our hopes up again. So yeah, I didn't see any of the photoshops, but any good?
Well,
really good.
Up there, they're up there with the standard of joke tweets, to be honest. But Barack Obama will not be signing for Newcastle United. If anyone was getting the hopes up about that, it was just weird, wasn't it, Matty? I mean, did you have any high hopes about this, or was it just kind of a final nail in a very, very bleak takeover saga?
For me, it's always been the same. I mean, even with the excitement of the last takeover that's failed, you try your best not to keep your hopes up to any sort of standard, because you just know that hope is the killer when it comes to being a Newcastle United supporter.
Not Craig, by the way. Not Craig.
Yeah, not Craig Hope. Who's that? I don't even know what that is. But it was just a case of this comes along, and I think as soon as, and this isn't a pop at the guy, but as soon as Michael Chopra started making his noises, I just thought, this can't be the case. This can't be the case.
What noises does Michael Chopra make exactly?
I don't know. It's about getting like a clinking of getting cans out the bin. You get
is it a little clink? Is it? I was thinking like a high pitched screech, just for the years since he's retired. Basically, a bit
like Marley's ghost coming into Scrooge's room, and there's screams and there's clinks of chains, but they're cans, the bags of cans you're getting out the bin.
Bags of cans dragging along behind him that he's putting in his bin. For some strange reason, putting cans in the bin. I mean, just drink them first, please.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, there's other groups been mentioned. I know Richard Scudamore is apparently involved in something, and Newcastle fans, as they do, started begging for that one to happen. But I think that one of the purest moments of the last few days has been Steve Bruce sat in his chair having a laugh about how he was possibly going to be replaced by Pochettino overnight. So, Shell, do you think that we kind of just have to look back and laugh now?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because I still feel like we've been robbed of a proper explanation of everything that went on. So that does make it difficult to just move on. And it does make it difficult in the sense that we can see it now playing out as we all knew it would if we kept Mike Ashley, in terms of the transfer window, the lack of activity and the lack of excitement for us again. And so I do think it's quite frustrating. I think we all did a pretty good job of getting behind Steve Bruce last season. And you know what, I don't think that, you know, it says a lot about our team, but I don't think that he's the biggest problem going forwards. And I think, you know what, you know, fair to him, like he was as a laugh and a joke. I can't remember one of the Man City players, I'm sure that he was like, are you coming to join our team?
De Bruyne, yeah, of course, he signed him up. That deal is still yet to materialise with De Bruyne, but we will watch this space. But you're right, though.
What else can he do?
Right. I know, exactly. And I think that I'm seeing a lot of tweets at the minute now where there's the odd pop at Bruce not wanting to bring a striker in. And it's like, I don't think he's actually going to be able to get anything. And we've seen the likes of Benitez try and knock down the door at Ashley to get something done. And even then, the most passionate of managers at Newcastle United can't make him budge. And we're staring down the barrel at the moment as Newcastle fans, and that brings me quite nicely to Besty. Is Archie okay? Is he all right?
Alfie,
Alfie, not Archie. Sorry.
You think he's got a bit of an upset tummy? He's screaming there, bless him. Yeah.
Well, we're all gutted. You've heard about the striker situation.
Yeah, it's another bad moment. Another bad moment. Yeah, all that talk of Photoshop, and he was like, "Oh God, Barack Obama again." Well, there was one takeover saga, but there was another saga that was going on this summer, which was the Matty Longstaff situation. He's put pen to paper. Mysteriously, a 2-year deal, but I think that's nothing to be fazed by. Bestie, do you reckon that this is quite a boost that we needed at the start of the week, but we kind of need another one by now already?
Yeah, it dragged on and dragged on. I mean, really, from before football came back, before Project Restart, didn't it? It kind of went on for ages. And I mean, I wouldn't say less enamoured by the Longstaffs, because I think they're okay players, but I don't think it's the good news that we need.
No.
I mean, obviously, the good news that we need would be getting rid of Ashley, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But when we give Matty Longstaff a new deal and then sign Jeff Hendrick, you think, well, how far down the pecking order is he?
Yeah, no, exactly. It doesn't make much sense. I mean, you say there about the news we needed. I don't know what we need, but I guess it's like asking for a bike for Christmas and getting a toy one. It just doesn't add up, really. But we were just talking about Steve Bruce there before you came back, Bestie. But Matty, do you think that what did make him stay, Matty? What made him? What caused him to cave, if that was the case that he was holding out?
Well, only he knows the answer to that. I mean, there was loads of noises about, moves to Udinese, that formulating a move to Watford, and there was interest in other places. But at the end of the day, maybe he's just, he wants to stay at the club. That's give him his chance this season, if you can call it a chance. He's had some good games. But I think, like you say, a 2-year contract sort of gives him that leeway of, if things don't work out this season, he can go elsewhere. Whether there was noises about him perhaps going on loan. I mean, like you said, we're stacked in midfield now. We've got 6 midfielders. Is that right? Shelby, Hayden, the 2 Longstaffs, Hendrick, so 5. But it's
Henry Survey, of course.
Yeah, Henry Survey. Well, I was going to come on to him because he did play against Crewe. But
he's been found in this madness. But it's one of the things.
But Matty's just, where does he fit in? I mean, I think I said last time we were on here about him staying, about how, if we really care about him staying, then why aren't we playing him if he's that good? So again, 2-year deal gives him the leeway, and we'll see what happens this season, really.
Which Longstaff do you think's better, Matty? That wasn't me answering the question, by the way. That was just
I'm not too sure. I mean, Sean, when he first came in under Rafa, I was thinking, who have we got here? He looked like Michael Carrick. He looked great. He had some performances where he dominated midfield. I'm not saying it was against great teams, but I remember his games against Huddersfield, his goal against Burnley at home. He looked great until he got that injury, and that just seemed to shake him loads. And then he came back into a team where, Steve Bruce is the manager, and this isn't a pop of Steve Bruce, but things have changed, obviously, and I don't know if that shook him even further. And then Matty's came in and, he scores that goal against Man United and all eyes are on him all of a sudden. So it's like the focus has shifted. I just hope that Sean can replicate, some of his performance later in the season gone, because that one against Bournemouth was quite good. I remember very well then. So we'll see what happens. But then he got another injury, so it's. I know. So basically, I'm not answering the question. I'm going to sit right on the Longstaff bench.
Politician style that you did there. You gave us everything else that I needed except the answer. Yeah. But Shell, do you think it's quite important that we're holding on to youth like Matty Longstaff? That we mentioned the Manchester United goals, if you want to look at both of them. But we need those memories. Is it good to have him in there?
Well, it's good in a sense, but it's just so Newcastle United the way it all came about. Like we were made to wait for ages, and I almost feel like we're now been made to feel grateful that we hung on to him. And I just think, as you guys have said, he's not, he's good. He's shown some signs of being an exciting player. And of course, I'm glad that we're keeping on to young talent. We don't keep enough of it, and we don't bring enough through. So, it's great that we've got him, but it's just the whole way that it came about for me. It just made me think, bloody hell, this is so Newcastle. We can't even enjoy keeping some of our own players. And you do wonder about his motivation now that he's on a 2-year contract. He's going to be thinking, what's coming, and maybe that'll work for us, because maybe he'll be like, look at me, and put in some good performances. But it's very short term again, and it's the same when we buy a decent player, 2 seasons, and then Mike Ashley's got profit in his eyes, and we're selling them on again. So I just feel like it's all very short term, and we're, I don't want to be mega negative, but we're being made to feel grateful that bloody Matty Longstaff signed a couple of years. It's hardly, the big news of the bloody window, is it?
It was quite a telling sign that Newcastle put the fantasy prices up, and it was Jeff Hendrick and Matty Longstaff. It was like Matty Longstaff was at the club still 5 months ago. I don't know why he's been treated like a new player, even by the Twitter account. But
it was picking him, by the way.
Well, God knows. Space on my bench for Matty Longstaff.
Yeah, when we play Man United, maybe when we play Man United,
stick him in. He loves to score against the Devils. It is nice that we're talking about Matty Longstaff with a child in the background. It's almost poetic, Besty, that you're providing that service. But I know that a lot of people are reading into things at the minute, but Shell did say there's a sign of Matty Longstaff being a good player. We are not Qatari funded, just in case anyone is wondering about Gallagher's shots there. Anyway, on to the next thing. Isaac Hayden has got a new agent. Is this a bit of a worrying thing, Besty? Do you think this might be the final time that we see him move on?
It could well be. I mean, Hayden's a player I've liked since we signed him. I didn't really know anything about him when he came from Hull, wasn't it, in the Championship season? And he's I've liked him all the way through. And agents tend to like to make their mark, don't they? They kind of make the money for themselves and for their clients. And could he be hoping to negotiate a new contract with Newcastle, maybe? Because that's obviously part of the agent's job as well. You never know, but it could be a sign of things happening, especially with Matty Longstaff dominating world headlines by extending that contract. And
certainly back in Italy and Udinese, they'll be gutted on the streets. They'll be throwing the darts at his image now that he turned them down.
They'll be doing all kinds. I'm
burning
I'm not too sure what the custom of Udinese is. But,
I'm not too sure. That's another conversation.
But very possibly. As Matty said earlier, we're kind of pretty well stacked in centre mid at the minute. So could Isaac be the one? You're kind of hoping, because like I say, I do like him. I think he's not going to be a player who ever wins the Premier League as a starting centre midfielder, but he's certainly good enough for Newcastle.
Yeah, I would be good to see him go. Shell, not so much on the back of our awards chat.
Oh God, sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and watch for that one if you want to understand the reason behind that. Because if Shell speaks about Isaac Hayden, she will combust. But we've been talking there about being stacked in central midfield. We saw the arrival of Geordie Jesus, Jeff Hendrick, signing on a free transfer. Yeah. Groundbreaking in the same week that Messi has told Barcelona that he's leaving. Is this a good signing for you, Matty, or is it just what we've come to expect, or do you have to kind of separate the two from each other and say yes, good signing, and this is just the norm now?
Yeah, I agree with what you've just said there at the end. I think it's a transfer that can be seen in a couple of lights. Personally, for me, I think it's a good signing. He's a player who's a lot of Premier League experience. He's a tidy footballer. I remember him playing against us a few years back when we first got up to the Premier League in a drab game down at Turf Moor, but he ended up going on to score the winner. And ever since then, I've thought he was a pretty tidy player. Yeah. I mean, Mick McCarthy came out and called him I think it was a quote of a brilliant lad and a proper bloke, which you can take to the bank.
Lovely quotes from McCarthy there. Yeah.
But he also, he echoed, the things a lot of people think about him. Like he's versatile, centre midfielder, can play out wide if he has to. A tall lad as well. He's 6'1", 6'2", so he can defend well at set pieces. So you'd like to think that if Hayden stayed, he'd be chopping and changing with him. If he's starting, Hayden will come in and vice versa. But I do get the flip side of the coin in the terms of, we saw on the horizon with this takeover, the promise of funds and the promise of new signings, and they've ended up being cruel mirages, like not for the first time. And I think there's a lot of Newcastle fans out there who still have that hope of that, and they still have that measuring stick of being linked with top players. And in comes Jeff Hendrick from Burnley on a free. Now, it's apples and oranges, and if you contrast those things, you're not going to like Jeff Hendrick. But I think if you just separate the two, he's a solid signing with 2 weeks from the season, and I'd much rather have a player like Jeff Hendrick through the door than absolutely nothing at all. So he is symptomatic of the Ashley era on a whole, free, certain age, Premier League experience, and probably on lower wages than normal players. But on the whole, it's a good signing, but it doesn't cover the fact that there's massive holes in our squad still that need to be.
Exactly. I mean, I sit on the thing of with Newcastle signings at the minute. It's like, yeah, we've got Jeff Hendrick, but what are people actually expecting us to do when we are so used to it? I don't know why people get so angry, saying, "Why are people happy with Hendrick? This is what's become of the club." And it's like, yeah, but you have to look forward at some point, and much like the takeover when it collapsed, it was like we have to move from here and we have to work with what we are dealing with. I mean,
definitely.
For you, Shelley, are you impressed by Jeff?
I don't know about impressed. It takes quite a lot to impress me. I feel like, do you know what? I feel like he looks like he's really good at holding the ball up, and we've just given possession away so cheaply. And I think there's very limited players in our squad that are good at doing that. I feel like Shelvey, I don't panic when he's got the ball because I feel like he's going to hold on to it and pick out a good pass. And I think that he'll be quite good for that. But other than that, yeah, I mean, who's going to score all the goals though?
Well,
all the defenders? The defenders?
Yeah. Dubravka's only got a heel injury. He can use the front of it, can't he? He should be fine, shouldn't he? Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Jeff Hendrick become a cult hero of Newcastle, much like Hayden. Besty, is there anyone in your mind who you could compare Hendrick to from yesteryear, just to keep the 90s fans on board who are really hating the club right now?
God, there's a curveball and a half. I was just astonished.
Bit of Rob Lee, perhaps? Too many goals for Rob Lee.
Maybe, probably too many. I don't know. Too much hair for Rob Lee.
Too much hair for Rob Lee. Yeah.
Darren Peacock / Rob Lee.
A bit of Gavin. Bit of Gavin in there. Yeah.
Coffee tables involved there, Matty, was it? Darren Peacock slashing on Rob Lee.
Yeah.
A player could compare him to. I don't really know. I mean, he's a player who kind of I looked up this afternoon and think, no, I can see him in a Stoke City shirt for some reason.
Yes. Oh my word. Yes. Absolutely. Charlie Adam. What are you trying to say?
Much better looking than Charlie Adam, though.
Oh, he's a great looking lad. Great.
Yeah, Gary Taylor Fletcher in a wig.
Yeah, well, there we go. Then we've sussed it. We've actually got Gary Taylor Fletcher as side for Newcastle United, and that Photoshop worked wonders. Just for anyone who was worried, I believe that there was a lot of Phil flash on that. Serena Taylor did come out and mention that. So all of this talk that Alan, I mean, I don't know if anyone saw, but Alan San-Maximin retweeted the picture of Jeff Hendrick and said something about Photoshop using the Spider-Man image. It was deleted within 2 minutes, and he comes back on and says, "How's it going?" And then we got the iconic moment, I think, Besty, you saw it, of Peter asking Alan San-Maximin, "Alan, can we be friends?" Alan San-Maximin replies, "No, Peter, sorry." He's got a stunning way of tweeting, and I love it. Amazon Prime certainly love it. If they could come in and buy us with the richest man in the world now, so we'll see. But in devastating news, Kel Watts has been loaned out to Plymouth, man.
No.
Just give it a moment. Matty, did you like what you saw from Kel Watts in the match he played against Liverpool?
Blockbuster debut.
Do you think this is good for him? I mean, he's going to go and take on Sunderland. Amazing.
Of course.
Agent Kel.
it's a good thing for Kel Watts, definitely. Plymouth, for like, down there, are a big club. I remember us playing them in the Championship under Chris Hughton.
Great ground to go to, by the way. They played our tunes when we got promoted. I think I've got a lot of time for Plymouth.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully he can do well there. I mean, at the end of the day, he's well thought of to be in the first team picture, even though it was because of an injury pandemic, not to use that word loosely. But he obviously is well thought of. So first team experience is all we can hope for a player like that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm happy to see him go out personally. There's other players that we're going to talk about in a second that have appeared. Dan Barlaser, I think that's how you say it.
Barlaser, I've heard.
Barlaser.
Cool.
We're going to be like the back to the Lascelles argument, aren't we? And the James Tavernier and stuff like that. But yeah, let's get on to the big match of the week. Newcastle United 3, Crewe Alexandra 0. Andy Carroll with the sexiest goal I have ever seen. Shell, are you looking forward to him to bagging 30 goals this season like that?
Oh, absolutely. I cannot wait. What a good lad. And we were both very happy about it on the old WhatsApp group.
Yeah, first one's in there. I mean, dare I say, the floodgates probably aren't going to open for Carroll, given that it was against Crewe Alexandra. But I mean, from the video, it was a cracking bit of skill, wasn't it?
Yeah, as long as you looked around the fact that it was just so silent with nobody there and just all a bit Sunday League. Yeah, a good bit of skill.
Yeah. Besty, I know that the pre-season jog's been brought up on, but as a man who knows about his celebrations, if you were to score a goal in pre-season, would you liven it up a bit? Would you try getting a different thing in there?
You've got to, I think. I mean, it's going to be a bit of a proving ground, hasn't it? It's not just a friendly where the players kind of gain match fitness, it's celebration fitness as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, get the arms worked up.
I mean, Andy, when he was here first time round, he had the thing where he'd kind of get the arms out and run towards a corner. And I'm desperate to see that again. And yesterday would have been, the Crewe game would have been perfect. I mean, that wingspan, he would have taken 4 or 5 blokes out. It would have majestic.
I loved it. I'm all for an intense rivalry with the real women. I mean, it's what football's crying out for. It'll be like Newcastle Crewe and the Brighton Crystal Palace of rivalries that will never be explained. But Andy Carroll sparked a few of their players that I don't know the names of. Christian Atsu got a goal, as did Federico Fernandez. But the only thing that we sadly took from this, apart from the 3 points, of course, was Gayle getting injured. Matty, I mean, this has been the thing that's probably set the fan base off more than anything since the takeover, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, couple it with the fact that we were crying out for strikers anyway before it happened. And I don't think it can be seen as much as a surprise, really. I mean, Dwight Gayle, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, got injured in pre-season last season, stopped him from playing at the start of the previous season. And yeah, he came into good form at the end of last season. And Steve Bruce had some great words to say about him, and rightly so, because he did score a lot of, 4 or 5 goals, which is great. But
he was the king of restart. He was the king of restart, and I think that it made us realise after a season of Joe Linton, or half a season, if you want to look at it that way, that we do have a goal scorer there. But it goes back to the argument that has been made many times that he is a great Championship, not quite good enough Premier League player.
The Darren Huckabee zone, as people call it. Yeah,
Huckabee zone, like to be in there.
Well, I like to call them purgatory players. They're not good. They're too good for the Championship, not good enough for the Premier League. But I mean, he did play well, and for me, when you play him up front instead of Joe Linton, it looks like you're playing with a centre forward because he's playing with his face to goal most of the time. However, he just doesn't have the quality in certain areas to back it up, and that's why we've been screaming out for a proven striker. But then Steve Bruce was quoted as saying, I'm not going to sign someone who isn't as good as what we've already got. I'm sure if a fan was there with him when he said that, they'd have shown him the facts and figures that, it doesn't take much to get something better than we've already got. And then the next day, Gayle goes and injures himself. So now we don't just need something better than what we've got. We just need someone.
Yeah. Can anyone go and do a job, please? We'll get someone from the backroom staff just to run up front and do something and see what happens. Gayle did set up Atsu, but like you say, we are short of options now. Andy Carroll is apparently leading the line. Joe Linton is currently in quarantine, from what I gather, or his missus is pregnant. There'll probably be another story coming out that he wants to buy the club with his price tag shortly. So who knows what next? But there's been a lot of players that we've been linked with this week. We've had Maitland-Niles in there. We've had Irving Lozano, Shane Duffy. The name that we're apparently favourites to sign is the one that I know nothing about, Giannoulis, Dimitris Giannoulis. Omar Colley's in there, Todd Cantwell. The best one for me this week, apart from Troy Deeney, which we'll get on to, was Gonzalo Higuain. Shell, any of those names jumping out to you and thinking, yeah, we'll have them all?
I feel like I've heard of Todd Cantwell, and I haven't heard of any of the others.
Norwich Cantwell, Todd Cantwell, but yeah, he's the one with like the surfer hair.
The Backstreet Boy, Boy plays for
Backstreet Boy, yeah. Well,
no.
boy band. No, okay. Well, there we go then. So, but either way, you'd be happy to see any of them come through the door, quite frankly, wouldn't you? Because I mean, Higuain's the only one there. I mean, Besty, you've got a bit of a look at Higuain yourself. Did you believe that one for a second?
That I think you've got more chance of me signing, to be honest with you, than Gonzalo Higuain. I did enjoy a thing I saw on Twitter where it was kind of, the story was leaked, and it was kind of the kibosh was put on it in the same tweet.
Yes.
Yes, I saw that.
I did see some of the Italian translation. It said it did not warm his heart about Newcastle's interest, which is, I mean, Christ, does it warm anyone's heart that Newcastle United are linked with you? Go to this place, you know, they've got amazing seats. Maybe Troy Deeney is one that's come up just today. I mean, I fail to see him leaving Watford, but Matty, would Deeney be a good fit for us, or would you prefer to see us go for Wilson or King from the other relegated side?
I mean, I'd rather go for Wilson or King because they're just. Yeah. I mean, I think anyone would agree, whether you're a Newcastle player or not, they're just better players in better times in their career. Troy Deeney, I like the guy. You know, he comes across as quite a good character. Not to plug a podcast on another podcast, but he was on Louis Theroux's before, and he came across really good.
Our biggest rival there.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm an absolute sleeper agent. But he would scream of just.
Sorry, hang on. Troy Deeney was on Louis Theroux's podcast?
Yeah, man. Listen to it. It's quality.
Brilliant.
It's really good.
He's a good lad. He's a good lad, Troy
Deeney. With Louis Theroux was the lockdown podcast. But anyway, I think if we brought in Troy Deeney, it just smacks of another hold-up guy. Look, I mean, he's done well in the Premier League for Watford, but he's took a lot of penalties, and you know he's held the ball up a lot for better players around him. I think he's come to the end of his career, so he probably, with his love for the club, would rather stay at Watford, I would think. I mean, I know he's probably on a lot of money, so they might be wanting to ship him. I'm not too sure about the situation at Watford. But yeah, to answer your question, I'd much rather go for a Wilson or a King, but where the hell do you get the money from to buy a player like that when Newcastle are in the situation they're in? Yeah,
well, the way I kind of see it, I'm thinking like maybe we can get like a Rondon loan in, and I know that might mean that we only get it from a season, but the love for Rondon is still very much strong, and he was only there on a loan from a then relegated side, which kind of says, right, well, maybe it's going to be hit or miss. Same happened with Loic Remy. You know, we sometimes get a diamond, sometimes we get Islam Slimani.
Oh God.
Yeah,
blast from the past.
You know his name, Shell, don't you? Yeah, never
forget. Luke de Jong.
Luke de Jong, Europa League winner now as well. Yeah. So it's depressing, isn't it? But I think that the Gayle one was perhaps a blessing in disguise that we will therefore get something up front, simply because we need it there. And the other one today, which has come through, Dubravka's now injured. Shell, when you saw this news break, what was your first thoughts? I mean, you could look at it with seeing that the fact that it might just be for a few weeks, or did you see Dubravka's injured, Newcastle are relegated?
Well, it's probably somewhere slightly in the middle. It's bad news, isn't it? Because he saves us a lot of points this season. You know, the more random players that we've got put together in a squad, the less communication, the less time there is, the more worried you become that we're just going to look even more fragmented. I mean, not surprised. You were just waiting for the next one to roll in, weren't you? But he's certainly been a key player. I think might have even been our player of the season. I can't remember.
Yeah, he was the official club player of the season. We went for St. Maximin as a channel, but Dubravka did come in second. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think people keep pointing out that the most saves for a keeper is nothing to shout about because it's Newcastle, but it's not good, is it? But I mean, what do we do, Bestie? Do we go for Darlow in there, or do we get Gillespie in now that he's been playing a bit of pre-season?
That kind of brings that into focus a little bit, doesn't it? Because I mean, I think the assumption seems to be that Rob Elliott's. In fact, is Rob Elliott still?
He's gone.
He's gone.
Rob Elliott's, yeah, he's gone to colour coats and having a nice life.
I wonder if it's like a Les Ferdinand situation where they're desperately trying to ring him now, or what's happened. But he's away. He's on the A19 up there.
At the Dilch, come back.
But it kind of obviously Gillespie played one of the halves against Crewe, didn't he? Or did he play the full game?
Yeah, he made a couple of good saves as well. Played the first half Gillespie, second half Darlow.
Darlow in the second.
It doesn't necessarily. I mean, I've got nothing against Gillespie. I don't know the first thing about the bloke. He's obviously very charitable in that he donated a song to Miggy, which will come on later on, no doubt.
Oh yes.
But like if you played in the Premier League and your first choice goalkeeper briefly becomes a fella who was released by Motherwell that same year, it doesn't strike you with all the but there again, Dubravka wasn't first choice at was he Sparta Prague?
Sparta Prague, yeah, he was second choice there, and they told him where to go, and then he had that game against Man United, and now he's getting dropped from his national team because the manager's the one who apparently broke the news about this heel injury, which is quite strange, but then I guess the club wouldn't want any more bad news to seep out this week. I mean, we've already been hit with the devastating blow that Yoshinori Muto is potentially looking for a new club, which I know a lot of fans will struggle to come to terms with. Again, we're back to Les Ferdinand. But Matty, what is it about Muto that just didn't work?
We don't know where he plays, I guess.
Don't think he does.
Everything.
Yeah.
He obviously got brought in under Rafa. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of other people up against him, but I mean, could be seen as probably Rafa's worth signing considering he was bought for £10 million. But again, never got a real run of games in the side. That must be because he's not showing enough off the pitch, whatever. I mean, Steve Bruce did get interviewed about him at the end of last season and said, he's working really hard on the training pitch. He's just not in my plans just yet. He also
called him Mutu, which is worrying. Which if he thought Adrian was playing for us at one point, so don't know where Steve said was.
But it's a strange one. I mean, I think he showed little flashes when he played. He was a try-hard, but he was just one of those guys who didn't particularly have enough skill, didn't have enough pace. However, he just looked like he was a try-hard. I'll always remember him for that goal against Man United at Old Trafford, being in that away end before my heart got broken in the second half. But it's a shame. But I mean, I think they're going to try and move him on to try and get funds for another player.
You've got to, haven't you? I mean, I think we're at that point now where Gayle is out, Carroll's up front, Joe Linton is stuck in customs, and I think Muto's time is up. There's a video that hasn't surfaced yet, but might eventually. But we said that Muto is one of the players that we just have to say, sorry, but the time's up. I think I would say it's a bit of a Daniel Cordone, Bestie. Would you think?
The Wolfman.
Cordone, I don't know if I agree because Cordone's day was 20 years ago, and yet he's still revered. He's still at the club. He sold it himself. He sold his earrings to his head, didn't he? That was his thing, to get around having to take them off. So he's somewhere in the fixtures, just in the where the roof of the mill burning level 7 used to be. Daniel Cordone is still there. He's the only thing holding it together. There's no mortar. I think
Daniel Cordone has been encased in that weird statue of Shearer that's at the bottom of the sports bar. That I always thought was Warren Barton, which made me really laugh because I was like, why the hell do we have like a polystyrene statue of Warren Barton as people are walking around? But I think Daniel Cordone is in there.
Like a Trojan statue.
Bobby Robson had him put in there and he said, right, in 30 years, wake up when times are really bad. And this is when Newcastle are in League 2, of course. Daniel Cordone emerges, same age, and bangs them in.
Did you hear about that charity game he played in where he pretended to be Claudio Caniggia?
No.
It was a charity. Apparently, Caniggia couldn't make it, so they said, Cordone, get here, but don't tell anyone it's you. Just so
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I won't get on to Christian Bassidas because that'll be the next thing that we go to.
That's going to send off a tangent, isn't it?
I know.
And everything.
Yeah. Let's just talk about classic players for half an hour.
The big sliding doors one with Bassidas. You got an injury at DC United, and that was a sliding doors moment. You
know too much, Bestie. I swear to God, I know these players just disappear. disappear for my liking. And always nice to mention Diego Gavilan, of course, who I've just gone into the dark there. The ghost of Daniel Cordone.
Yeah, he's
popped in there.
Possessing you.
Yeah, he just came in there. We'll talk about the currents. Since we mentioned one Argentinian, I think Basidas was Argentinian, wasn't he? Fernandez got a goal, but Shell Fernandez might be the man to bring Lionel Messi to Newcastle United. Do you think it could happen?
No. But,
okay, thanks.
But great. I mean, no, I mean,
nice to dream.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I'm not going to comment on it any further because after the takeover, I'm just going to wait and see what happens. I'll wait for him to rock up.
Who knows? Yeah. Messi can come to us if he wants to come to Newcastle. He's got to come to us and prove that he wants it. But yeah. I mean, I'd like to just quickly say Mark Gillespie, we've spoken about. He stole the headlines this week because of his song "Life Is a Roller Coaster," probably the most apt that you could sing as you join Newcastle United. I don't know if it was a coded message from the ex-Motherwell man, given that his ex-team are currently in Europa League action tonight. But yeah, Miguel Almiron likes a bit of Ronan Keating, and Ronan Keating has since asked Mark Gillespie to perform at their gig in Newcastle. He couldn't make it. Mark has negotiated a night at the Sage, perhaps, and we're yet to see. But I mean, is this the deal that we need? Matty, do you think Ronan could come and do a job for us up front?
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah. Mark on stage, Ronan up front.
Yeah, no matter what. He could do a job up front for
well, of course. I mean, the thing is here that these tweets, they're just only words, and words are all he has.
But isn't it a wonder that we're getting,
isn't that I'm pretty sure that's a Keane song.
No, man, swear down it's not.
No,
okay, right.
Come on, Emil, don't let yourself down.
Yeah, thanks, Shell.
All right, okay. Well, look, I just had a picture of you in my mind and I just got distracted. Anyway, sorry, Besty, I'm waiting on you here. I'm waiting on you. Besty, actually, you're a man who knows your boy bands. If you were to take any boy band member of the past, which one would you have in your team?
Any boy band member, it would have to be Jason Orange from Take That.
You've got Jason Orange in there?
Jason Orange, yeah.
For flexibility.
He knows the area. His mother used to run a pub in South Shields.
Sorry, we're not talking about the playing style here. See, I was going to chime in with Louis Tomlinson with actual footballing ability here, but
it would be Jason Orange because he'd sell shirts as well. But Jason Orange because he's a handsome lad.
Yeah, I like the idea of having orange on my back. I'm not sure, but Shell, realistically, this time next week, what would you like to have happened at Newcastle United? Just one thing that you would like in the next week before we wrap up.
We need a striker.
Can that happen that quickly, though?
I mean, how long till the season? A week? 2 weeks? 2 weeks?
We're just under 2 weeks now, I think. September the 12th it kicks off.
12th it starts, yeah.
I'd like Steve Bruce to do some more brilliant press conferences about bacon. That's what I'd really like.
Yeah. Set the bar low. That's what we like to see.
That's all I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Matty, what about yourself?
I mean, if we're going to be unrealistic, just to echo Shell's sentiments, just get a striker in, but I don't know if we can. I mean, let's not forget we've got 3 pre-season games between now and the start of the season against Barnsley, Stoke and Middlesbrough. So let's see.
Someone's keen, blimey. I tell you what, I didn't even... The reason I know about Barnsley is because Justin Lockwood's getting excited about it because it's his real team. Don't let anyone know.
But we'll see what joys then they bring.
I know.
No other injuries, but, we can't expect next season to start off with the goal glut from the defenders again. So... we need goals in the team. We need another winger in the team. We need a left back in the team, which we were told by the Chronicle isn't a priority at this moment in time, even though we only have one of them. So we'll see what happens. But I just pray more bodies come through the door and not many. Well, I'm sure some are going to have to leave to facilitate more coming through the door. But let's just hope it's the likes of Muto and Aarons, and we'll
Aarons, blimey.
All the best to them, by the way. But it's just because Lee Ryder even mentioned the fabled combination of wheeling and dealing tonight, and I think that's what Newcastle are going to have to do.
Yeah, it's been like a bingo checklist this week of Bosman wheeling, dealing, over the line, etc., etc. I did mention that Janulis. I think he is a left back, which Newcastle are apparently leading the race for. But of course, that means there's 6 teams in front, which we don't know about. Besty, finally, what about yourself? What would you like to see realistically in the next week?
Realistically, I've got to really echo Matty and Shell here. We must get a striker in at some point. And I mean, I kind of...
or at least we start looking, you'd think, linked to...
Yeah. I think the transfer window's open till, is it late October?
October, mid-October, yeah.
So there's a little bit of time there, but by that point, you could be 6-7 games in and however far adrift you could be. So I was reading tonight, apparently they've been offered Troy Deeney. So I don't know if West Ham must be trying to, or West Bromwich Albion, or one of them W teams, isn't it? Watford.
I thought you were just naming all the teams that have been offered him. I was like, yeah, Wycombe Wanderers have been offered him as well.
I think Weatherby Services tried to get shot him as well for a little while.
Yeah, well, they were pretty understaffed when I was there the other day, to be fair. There was also a man in the toilet buying extra large condoms, which I absolutely respect. So
we just wait for someone to come in.
It wasn't Troy Deeney. It wasn't Troy Deeney. Just before anyone gets worried,
more disappointment for someone.
Yeah.
Magnum does not lie. I know. I think striker is the must now, but I think that was the case even before Gayle got injured, even before we lost Joe Linton somewhere in transit. I mean, Matty mentions the pre-season games there. I would like to see us just win them all, because I think there's too many times where Newcastle have a pre-season where we slip up against a team that we weren't expected to slip up against, and it sends everyone into pandemonium. I think that the Crew game in particular, the Carroll goal, even Hendrick signing, I think I started to see Newcastle Twitter come back to life for about an hour, and then Gayle got injured and we descended back down that slippery slope. So we just need to balance it out now, and if it means winning a few games of nondescript games, then so be it. But I think we've covered the week at Newcastle United, guys. But we're smiling.
Just about. Just about.
Shell force that one out a bit more. The camera's focused on you right now, so I'm just judging it on what Shell's doing. Yeah. We'll just turn our smiles up a little bit more. But this is going to be a bit of a weekly feature. Jess has joined the channel today, so Jess is going to be on here quite a lot. We've got another girl, Shell. We've got another lass. Soon we will be having our very own ladies' night featuring one guy, and I'll be able to ask questions such as, do you all go to the toilet together? This has been ExtraTyne. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy. Keep subscribing.